Hey everybody, I'm Patch Baker and I am here today with Robert Lee, and we are talking about the difference between video quality and video content. Stick around. So, hey Robert, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you, Patch?
I'm great, man. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, so I'm finally glad to have you on the show. And give me just a little bit of your background so everybody knows your story.
My story, okay. It's been a while since someone asked me that directly, so if I tend to be a little bit forgetful, you'll have to pardon me. Before working videos, I working in marketing, direct marketing, all forms, about 20 years, and then 5 or 6 years ago, made the jump to video, and here I am. Is the short story of it. So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just pretty mind-blowing just to see the explosion of just now people are slowly starting to get it as to use the videos to help them promote their businesses and getting their name out, or getting their name out of their business, their services, and what have you. So
yeah.
It's just a matter of trying to keep up in terms of just helping them just stand out for who they're trying to go after.
Yeah, and I know we in the industry, we all know this, but have you seen a huge influx over the last just couple years doing video outreach, vice just static ads, pictures, text posts? I mean, you come from the social media realm, so have you seen a pretty big upswell in videos actually coming out from more and more companies?
I think it's a matter of not so much the upswell, but how it's coming out. Before, you would traditionally see the video like online on their homepage, touting as to like who they are, what they're doing. But now it's starting to leak over. I shouldn't say leak over because it just sounds kind of gross, but you get the idea. Just where it's trickling down. Well, I don't know if trickle is the better word. In the social media, where they're starting to use videos to get the word out. And now it's a matter of like, I think companies are now just trying to get a better idea like where to find their markets, and now they're starting to realize, okay, another way is to use the social media. So it's interesting just as to how they're starting to use videos in doing that, and so it's just a matter just to kind of monitor their progress as to how well they're getting the message out, and how in terms of keeping up the trends as to like what's the effective way to communicate the message that you're trying to put out there.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, that's really hard for a lot of people to actually figure out what the goal is and then create a video that meets that goal in the end.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of companies, they just want to put out a commercial. They go looking for a commercial.
Right.
But a commercial doesn't do it.
Right.
Right. Just because you throw something out there doesn't mean that you're going to get the, hit the goal or hit even the milestones of what your ultimate goal is.
Right.
So how do you usually weigh in on the planning for setting those goals? Do you typically just take over that and try to get full creative control, or is that something that you work with business owners and tell them what they need, vice what they think they want? How's that work?
Well, a lot of times it's kind of like that dance where you just not know like when you step in and when you step out. And a lot of times it's just a matter of just sitting down and have that talk with them just to see where they're at. I hate to use the word like measure up, but just kind of know like as to like what their marketing background is, or if they thought out as to like how they want to use the videos, the best way to promote their business or themselves. And then just a matter from that to be able to like try to put together a game plan then to try to execute that. But I think the first challenge is just a matter of just kind of getting them to sit still and just kind of like have that talk with them as to say, okay, we're in creating the video, what is your purpose, what is your goal? And then from there, once they start to think and know what they want to do, then it trickles down. I don't know why I'm using the word trickle a lot, but the idea of just being able to formulate a plan as to like addressing distribution or focus on the content, as well as just identifying the resources. So, but yeah, it's almost like trying to get them away from the shotgun approach and more of like a precise, do I say some marksman type, like more precise, I guess is the best way to put it. And then to build from there.
Yeah. So do you typically like one-time ad campaigns, or do you like multiple commercials that lead one right into the other, so where you're creating a full campaign instead of just one-shot commercials?
Yeah, I think a lot of it depends on where they're at, whether they're more on the learning side. If they're just getting their feet wet, it tends to be more one-off. And I think the more mature a client or customer are, then they start thinking multiple, or at least taking that video and figure out how to repurpose. So let's say you have them in, they have you in for a shoot, and you're doing like a product demo, and then in terms of filming that one video, thinking of different variations of how to present it, whether it's how they describe the video, or breaking down the demo of how it functions to meet whatever specific need or address a pain point a client has, or a combination of things. So it's a matter of just kind of like taking a step back and see like where they are in the thought process, where their knowledge base is, and just being able to see like of the content you're filming that day, if it's able to repurpose to be able to hit those multiple, or if it's more of like a one-shot deal, then the best way to distribute that in multiple ways and then multiple platforms. So there's a lot of just kind of like variables as to just trying to figure out before like saying, okay, we'll go in that direction or go in that direction.
Right. So to that point, how do you place, importance of, quantity over quality? So are you more, make it perfect before it goes out, or are you more of just get it to market and let's refine it as we go?
Okay.
How do you tend to lean?
Well, if I go off the subject, just let me know. But the way I focus it is more like the context of how the video is presented. So in terms of the quality issue, it's let's say if it's a product release and you want to get that information out there pretty quickly. Some folks would use like either like a Facebook Live or like use like the camera phone, the film it just to get the content out. Mm-hmm. That would be example of just focusing on the immediacy of it and just getting the information out there. In terms of like if you're presenting a brand new product for the first time, or you're just introducing yourself, something like that, you may want to focus on the quality just because you want to get that message right and to be able to present yourself well in the light. It's, I think when we talked earlier, I joked about it's like being on a job interview where you want to like look your best and present yourself a bit, and it's the same rationale with a video for first time or for quality. And then it's just a matter that and again, the context will address the quality. In terms of the quantity, it's just a matter of just how vital the message is. That if it's one that you're able to repurpose and still keep the messaging the same, mm-hmm. Then it's a matter of just being able to see the content you have and be able to make the necessary tweaks to get out there. But if it's one where if it's so precise that any change, any deviation from it may alter like what you're trying to present yourself, mm-hmm. then it may be just focusing on just how to get that video, that message out to the right markets, and then focus more on distribution. So again, it's just really a matter of just knowing the context of how the content is being put out, as well as knowing like what your distribution channels are to be able to get it out there effectively, and just kind of weigh all the variables. So it's very hard, where I know like a lot of folks want to have that kind of a template type of answer, so they can just kind of go out with it. But a lot of times, because there's so many moving parts, it's a matter of knowing like where to make that tweak, so that if you're repurposing a content, then you can be able to make the adjustments and go out there. Then to have that one same type of methodical approach towards everything, because it may not fit all. Right.
No, and I'm a little bit of a separate mind frame. I kind of like the beta, right? Mm-hmm. I kind of like the beta release idea where you basically get it out, unless you're doing like let's say you're doing a movie, or if you were doing some kind of national commercial release on TV. I don't think for most social media things it matters that you have the perfect video.
Right.
You can always alter it and put out new ones. Again, that's one of the cool things about social media, is that feed is always running. You know, it's that commercial is going to come and then it's going to go away, fairly quickly. And I know people like Gary Vaynerchuk say, on his podcast, he said that, trying to get things perfect, it's what keeps people from actually taking that next step and actually, making that action.
Right.
So I kind of like the beta version. I kind of like get the content out there, do something to have your content, library building, and you can refine it and hone it along the way, and over the years you get better and better and better.
Yeah.
Putting out content quickly and being really relevant and still being high quality.
Yep.
So I really like. I don't do a whole lot of Facebook Live myself.
Right.
Mainly just because my time is so constrained right now,
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people that are doing that. Facebook Live is just presenting, Facebook's given it so much priority that it's just being in the spotlight, right? You get to be seen.
Right.
So,
and I think it lends towards where folks have talked about like the authenticity issue, where if you go something live, because there's no retake of it, you're more likely to get a better read as to how the person is like. And I think that's part of the appeal where you have that. I know it sounds a little weird, but that one-on-one where most likely folks are going to like look at it on their smartphone than on their desktop. Not to say that they're not going to look on their desktop, but the when the viewer is engaged, they feel like they're talking to the person, and so I think it really just lends towards just in terms of how the message is presented that would lead to like what would be an appropriate way to get the word out there. I know like I do agree with you that it's always good to get out there, and sometimes being perfect it may not be achievable. And that's understandable, and I always focus on just in the context of how the content's being presented that would help lend towards that. Not to disrespect Mr. Vanderchuk, it's just a matter of just knowing like what it is that you're presenting that helps you decide like which way to go. Because I know like and I'm guilty of it myself of being a perfectionist, but there's a point as to know like there's going to be some when you present yourself that it's not going to be perfect, and just knowing like where you're able to cut a lot of slack to be able to do that, so that if you make a blooper like, oh okay, that happens, you're just doing it live. Then if you're like presenting in front of a gazillion people and making a speech, depending on how big the gaffe is, but it's just a matter of just knowing like what it is that you're getting out there. I know like what a popular format on with the Facebook Live is like you see the behind the scenes or the AMA. It's funny, whenever I hear AMA, I think of like the American Marketing Association, not intended to be a plug, but it's just more like I learned it's like Ask Me Anything. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'd see a lot more of those types of shoots with Facebook Live. And that's where, because it's so informal, that it lends itself that people don't really notice the quality because they're more listening into the conversation. Yep. Kind of like what we're having, only in a different setting. But it's just that the ability to feel like that you're just kind of like being welcome in to listen in and being able to chime in. And I think the idea, the appeal of where you're able to interact in such an AMA, I could see how in those instances where that would lend the people the favor towards that than other means, but yeah.
Well, it feels more organic. It feels like that it's not so scripted that that was all coming from a writer. Yeah. And I speaking of AMAs, it's always funny to me when you can just tell people are reading teleprompters to the point where it's no longer it's no longer quality. Yeah. Right. And it doesn't matter how good the writers are, but so let's talk a little bit about your business, because I know you've had tons of commercials done. You've had commercials run on the big screen. So how did you start your current business? And give me a little bit of understanding of that.
Okay. I think about 7 or 8 years ago, when I had volunteer at a local access station, is when I first got bitten with the video bug. And it's just kind of weird that the first thing that got my attention was just in terms of how shoots are being organized. And it just always, maybe it's just the not so much the perfectionist in me, but just more like the op-minded of just like finding ways to run a shoot efficiently, or just trying to troubleshoot things so that less attention is focused on troubleshooting than the filming itself. And so I was more caught up with just the organizing a shoot, to finding crews, to and put them in a place where they can shine, whether it's a film or gaff, what have you. And then from there, it was a natural progression that I started diving into such video works. And at that point, I was working at a medical manufacturer firm in marketing, and I could see the shift there, that as much as how direct mail and direct marketing back then is a conventional way to get the word out, that there was a shift in video. So I wanted to be able to make that change. So it was one where I didn't have the opportunity to do that at the place I was working in, and then, to make a long story short, or try to be, when they started to make changes within the company, I don't know what the word is, downsize or whatever the proper term is, I already had thought about just starting out my own business. It might have started a little bit earlier than I wanted to, but it was just one that I knew that's where I wanted to be. And that's how I got my feet wet, and just trying to combine with what I've observed and in the marketing standpoint of how things are being promoted or presented into a video mean is just a neat challenge, and just a great way to just combine the two passions.
Right.
And here I am.
Right. Right. So, who are you currently looking at for clients? What realm are you in? I mean, are you just, are you looking for, movie shoots, or helping companies grow, or what are you trying to do?
It's essentially just working with whether it's small, medium-sized businesses that don't have the resources, their personnel, but definitely want to integrate videos into their market campaign. Is something that's been our focus, and I know that we love filming the promotional videos, the interviews, the client testimonial, just because kind of like what we're doing is just focus on the individual and put them in the best light to shine, where it's all on them to be able to present themselves, and just helping them to get that out there has been something of interest, and one that I've been focusing on.
So how do you currently just find clients? They coming to you, or are you doing outreach? Or
I thought it was are they under a rock or something like that I can find? I mean, it's a combination of old and new. I know a lot of people talk about referrals, but that's one way. And then it's just a matter of just getting out there, networking, in terms of just knowing where your target market is. If it's, let's say, if you're focusing on the medical industry, or focusing on agencies, to be able to be members to such associations, and to be able to be within the folks that are in the mix, and then just a matter of just working on online presence. I know people have often come up to me and mentioned about the challenges of SEOs, and it's just a matter of just finding the right way of keeping up with the different algorithm that's spit out by Google and stuff, so that you're also found. So it's a combination of things, and just a matter of just knowing what works, and try to be able to build from it, and just know how to experiment as to just a better market. So it's always a work in process. Yeah.
No, and so you currently use the same techniques that you help show other people. So you're currently ranking your own videos for your own company, and you're ranking small to medium business videos, or at least helping them get them ranked on Google and stuff like that. One of the things that I was just reading a new study for 2017 on people are shopping more and more not by the text that Google presents when somebody searches, but they're actually clicking on the video or clicking on the images tab,
right,
and they're actually shopping by video or shopping by images over reading words.
Right.
So have you dove into any of that? Is that something that you educate your clients on, or?
Well, it's kind of funny because I look at it a little differently, in that I'm always looking at how their customer, or how their target market are watching their video, and I'm always thinking of ways of just finding ways to try to hold their attention. And sometimes it's a matter of just addressing the length of their video, or even and I know this sounds kind of silly. It's let's say if you're in a elevator, or you're in a subway, and you're not able to watch the video on your own, or the reception is bad. sometimes I'll even suggest to them that they may want to have like a text version with the video, so that if they ever lose the feed, they could still, read what it is they're trying to watch. And then when they get like a strong signal, they can kind of pick up from there.
Right.
And then the elevator scenario, what I've seen is that, especially like with Facebook, now that people are starting to use closed caption to advantage, so that they're not able to like listen in on the video as much as they want, just because they have like guy A and gal B like right jammed in an elevator, so they may be a little bit embarrassed to like play the video out, so that to be able to see like what they're, if they can't really lip read that well, and I know I'm not that great myself, that's another story, that they can see what it is that they're seeing, and then once they get out of the elevator, they can kind of play the video there. So I'm looking at it as to like worst case scenarios of instances where they might not hear the video, and then just being able to let them know like what options they can do to address that. Hopefully I answered your question.
No, that was good. That was good. So what's your biggest piece of advice for small to medium sized businesses looking to really grow their video content? What advice would you give them to point them in the right direction?
Well, I get it would be a matter of just understanding like what the challenge is. I think if it's a case where they feel a little shy to be in front of the camera, and it's a matter of just I guess, for lack of a better word, just to help them, encourage them to get out of their comfort zone and to be able to work on their presentation. Or
so just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
And then other times, if it's a case where they feel a little bit lost as to like what it is that they want to say, I think a lot of times it's just a matter of just trying to like, it doesn't have to be the perfect message. Just try to map out what it is that you want to say, and then get in front of the camera and just do it. But if it's something where you're a little bit concerned of just how to script it or be a little more formal, then I just encourage them to just reach out to colleagues that they know that are like strong wordsmiths, or even folks like us to tap to just help them guide the way, so that they can build up their knowledge base of what it takes to create a video. And then I think from there, once they've build up that confidence and build up that knowledge base, and if they feel confident of making that investment to either go to Matt yourself and say, hey, we really need to create a dynamic video, or if they want to bug this other guy here about it, then they're in a better place to be able to create the next leap in terms of creating the content. But it just really, like you say, just imagine just doing it and just being able to know, like, assess what their strengths and weaknesses are, to address it, and then be able in a better place to get the content out there.
Yeah. So from your experience, have you ever seen a company that had a true marketing strategy that did videos that didn't see a return? Have you seen that?
What would be an example?
Well, I mean, let's say if they put together a full campaign, it was designed from the ground up to showcase a product and maybe take that product to sale.
Uh-huh.
If they had a true strategy, have you ever seen anybody that did video content as part of a full campaign
right.
that it didn't work out?
I may not have experience personally. There may be instances, and I think a lot of it is just a matter on the execution. Like, they may have like targeted the wrong market, or it could be a technical thing where the video that they design, it's more appropriate for their website than if it was for a social media. I'll give you an example. Like, I've joked about it in some videos I created where about the whole vertical video syndrome.
Right. Yep.
And a matter of just having that video. But oftentimes I've noticed that now that because they're using Facebook Live or even Instagram, that you'd have to format the video vertically, as much as I hate to say this. And so even like making the technical correction, it would help them get their marketing off the ground, just because it's about the user's experience as another reason as to why they're not seeing the return, just because they haven't taken account of the user's experience. So yeah, I mean, not everything is 100% foolproof, but it's just a matter of just knowing, being able to learn and react. I think that's the key. So that way to get you on that way. So, yeah.
All right. So just based off of your experiences, so you've done everything from mailers, direct email marketing, direct mailers. You've done videos, commercials, social media outreach. if you were going to pit all those together, which would you prefer if you were going to, if you were going to suggest to somebody, which would you rather have? Would you rather have text content or video content? And give me an idea of why you would go one way or the other. And I'm talking about biggest bang for your buck type thing.
Well, it'd be hard for me not to be biased towards videos, but I think the key is just to be able to work out like some nifty synergy with text and videos. So I'm going to
make you pick one.
Just pick one?
Yeah, I'm going to make you pick one.
Well,
because we could say like a regular news outlet.
Yeah.
They have a video and then they have, all the words on the page. And although that has some SEO value,
yeah.
I'm just talking about biggest bang for your buck. Which do you think you would get more? You would either reach more people or would have more interaction with the same exact content.
Right. Well,
I know I'm being hard on you.
Well, no, it's just that I feel kind of silly because I'm almost kind of like, I don't want to say sidestep, but if you know that the market you're reaching, they have like the facilities to be able to see a video, then yeah, you want a video. But if you're gonna if your target market is like somewhere like in Nome, Alaska, where the Wi-Fi is bad, then yeah, I mean you might have to like think about.
Well, let's take the general population of the continental United States.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And we're saying same exact market. Let's just pick everyone between the age of 20 and 50. We'll just make it really, really easy. They can read. They can, they have access to a computer. The vast majority of people do. So let's just say if you were going to put, dollars to dollars, would you choose text version or would you choose video version?
Right. Well, if you put that in that caveat where everyone's got a strong Wi-Fi signal and they're able to get access to it, and then it's just a matter of like holding everything all equal, then yeah, I mean you'd want to look into the video just for the fact that, and you have to probably because I'm kind of blanking on the stats, but just that there's more focus of video content just because that's where people are viewing their material. I mean, specifically now that there's with the explosion of smartphones and everything like that folks are more likely to get eyeballs to the video than something written. Not to say I would discount written at all, but I mean in this instance that you want to look into the video just for fact. Not so much you have to keep up with the Joneses, but just that you're better to hold the folks' interest in. And
yeah. I couldn't have said it better. All right, so this is a point in the podcast where we're gonna ask you a bunch of rapid fire questions.
Okay.
And you got to answer them real quick.
Green,
right?
red, orange.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. So describe yourself in 3 words.
I'm here.
Okay. What's the first thing you do when you get up in the morning?
Open my eyes.
Biggest regret this far in life and why?
Ooh. God, I'm kind of blanking out here. Can we get back to that?
What is the secret to being happy?
Just surrounding yourself with a great family and friends, and just having the love and support that makes a whole lot of difference, a big difference, extremely huge, humongous, big difference, ginormous.
What is success to you?
Having that a firm understanding of having a good balance in your life, not only in your work but also in your personal life. And I'll admit that that has been a challenge, but that's always been in the back of my mind.
What makes you smile?
All right, I got to keep it PG. I think anytime you're able to help someone achieve their goals has always been a big smile, whether it's personal or work. So I think that's a safe thing to say.
If you lost everything tomorrow, who would you turn to first?
Oh, that probably my family.
What would you do differently if you knew no one was judging you?
Probably wear a different shirt.
Who or what have you given up on?
Now, I'm not sure if I understand the question. You mean giving up on, like, conceptually? Or
first thing that comes to mind.
I don't know. Maybe since I can't drive a Standard, probably just giving up on that, maybe.
Okay. All right. Lastly, how many monsters what do you think it would take to give you the energy to make $1 million?
I don't think it's a question of number of monsters, just like how close is the restroom is I can get to. So,
all right, guys, thanks so much for sticking around with us today. My name is Patch with Mobius Media Solutions. Do us a favor, like, comment, share, and if you have any questions or have any ideas for the show, you can comment those below. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, thanks so much for checking out this episode of our podcast. If you guys like the content that you just saw, would you do us a favor and go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below? It really helps us know that we're making the right kind of content that you guys want to watch and listen to. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you check out the description box below, we have all of our social media links. Make sure to follow us on Facebook. We post a lot of our behind the scenes stuff and advertisements for podcasts that are coming up. So once again, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next one.